Alright, we'll try this shit again. I doubt this shit's gonna work.
Okay, I'm just waiting. Sorry.
This shit's probably not gonna come up.
Your videos. Okay, here it is. All right, cool. Yeah. Just sit down. Just sit down. You'll see somebody come up. If you're subscriber, it'll pop up.
Alright.
See?
Anyway.
Sorry guys. I mean, we live in an island where the connection just sucks. But
yeah, we can't help it. If it happens again, let us know. Sorry about that. Anyway, to reiterate, today's Friday. That's messed my whole mind up.
It's July 24th.
All right, so it's Friday, July 24th, 2020. Rewind real quick. Big shout out to my mom for her 72nd birthday. But what we're gonna do again on today's show, if you missed the first 2 minutes before,
well, everybody that was on there is back. It's back, and plus one more, Ying Hao.
All right, well, cool. All right, so let's rewind for a second. And again, I mentioned that because if you watch this later after it processes, like tomorrow, then they'll have no idea what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But
sure, you got to mention.
But anyway, so I'm just gonna mention it again. The topic of today's show, if you're just tuning in tomorrow or whatever, we were cut out after 2 minutes. But the topic on today's show is how do you think sports in general and or tennis, this is a tennis show, should play out until normality returns to society in which we live in. Whether it's tennis, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, whether it's soccer, whether it's football, I don't care what it is. Cricket, I think yesterday Carla and I were watching something for a moment of people tossing beanbags into a hole. I'm like, dang.
I couldn't watch it. I had to, after 10 seconds, I'm like, are we really watching this? It's not even a sport.
What's it called?
Sorry.
It was called cornhole or something.
Yeah, it's not even a sport. Sorry. I mean, I don't even enjoy doing it. I think our friends have it at their house. I don't even like doing it. I'm like,
yeah, jeez. Yeah, you want to throw this bag in that hole? Like, no. I just want to go outside and walk for a minute, process that.
Well, I was asking Carteri how his brother was doing. I don't know. So he's doing much better. Thanks for asking. Okay.
All right. So let's again rewind to how we got to this point we are all sitting in currently. I think it was March of last year. We find out almost immediately. I mean, I think it was discussed for a little while, but pretty much pronto, we couldn't say what's up anymore. We couldn't shake hands anymore. We couldn't hug people anymore. We couldn't do anything. We got in someone's space and they wanted to annihilate you and stuff like that. So here we are. We fast forward and we are now at middle, late July. Schools are about to supposedly start, but not. Sports are trying to come back, but in what way, shape, or form? The numbers in which this pandemic are rising again, at least where we are. So how do we deal with all the stuff? Half of it garbage and half of it true, maybe. How do we deal with it? How do we process it and know which way we are headed and what to do and what we can't do? I think we did a show just a couple of days ago, and we were talking about how much everyone we meet, how much society is on edge. Everybody just is wanting to snap if you get near them, or if you want to go into a store and you don't have your facial covering on, you might get assaulted or something. So how do we process all this and how do we move forward in watching sports in general?
So someone here, obviously you probably watched Justin's weather videos, Foul River Peeps. Hi, is the island flooding anymore? From what we heard, the west end, any of the streets starting with the S are underwater right now.
Well, someone was paddling down the street, the end of Bienville towards the west end on a canoe yesterday, so that kind of helps you out a little bit.
Yeah, and we're supposed to get rain all day, so those streets will probably be flooded, right, for a little while.
I'm thinking so. And next time we get a storm, and it should be soon, based upon all the tropical storms out there, I'll be back on doing that.
I would like, before you get into that, I saw, Gene, you said the school's closed again for another 4 weeks until the end of the winter. Is it because more cases popped up while they opened up school, or what? And I know, Carteri, you're in California. How's the school situation there? Alex, what's the school situation over there? I know here we have certain counties that kids are going back to school. They have the choice of going to school or doing it online. Where we live, all kids don't start school till September 1st. and everything online. They can't go to school.
All right, so
But sports can start.
I actually, the first nugget I had here is let's look at the schools. And I'm speaking from the U.S. perspective. And thank you, Gene, for that. I'm curious, Gene, before I kind of start on this tangent, how do high school, college, or collegiate and middle school sports play into the school years in South Africa? If anybody doesn't know Gene, fine young man in South Africa. And I say that because this is what I'm going to talk about here for a moment. Here in the South, and that's the southeastern area of the United States, here in Alabama, football, respectively, I love football. I love to play quarterback. I did so growing up. But football is the cornerstone of our society and this geographical or concentric area. Football is everything. And that's great. I love football. But let me just ask everyone a couple of questions. If I can't get 6 feet near you, if I can't shake your hand, if I can't give you a hug, how can it be that I'm being tackled by someone drenched in sweat and yelling in my face in the end zone if I'm trying to make a catch and someone's trying to drill me? Furthermore, how am I an offensive lineman lined up next to a defensive lineman or nose guard on center? How am I able to bypass that? Are you going to put one of these young men in 110-degree sweltering heat with 20 pounds of equipment on with a mask on their face? I don't think it'll work out. So how is it that we are going to start football, but we are not going to start school, that is in class, being that socialization for the children is everything. We have 5 children. If you're new to the show, we have 5 children. One just left to the Air Force Academy. I know they're taking it extremely strict out there. Now, I know the level of strictness is much more lax and much more relaxed here. Where we are, and I think that may be a political thing. We don't get into politics on this show. We never do that, so we'll steer clear of that. However, how is that so? How can we as a society process whether or not it's okay to venture out without a mask on if I'm watching young men piled up on top of each other in the thick of battle? How do we process that? What do we do? I mean, doesn't that lead in of itself to a state of confusion?
It does. I mean, you can play football. Why wouldn't you go back to school when kids actually can keep their distance from each other? Gene says here that they have to wear masks at school and strict social distancing, washing hands. I mean, yeah, I don't understand this. Football, it's a contact sport, right?
And it's not just the contact sport. It's a sport where I'm in your face. Like, get back. I'm fixing to knock you. I'm fixing to get back.
I think it's great they're starting. I mean, it seems to me, yes, I see a lot of you guys answer. Alex says here their schools are closed to 2021, or I think actually Carteri said they're doing everything virtually. I mean, I get that a lot of people are dying and stuff, but it seems like more of the people dying are people that already had sick problems, older, their immune systems are not that good. It seems like someone like Djokovic, 10 days, he was clear. Most pro athletes, they get it, but nothing happens to them. So I don't know.
Well, I get, again, my question isn't pertaining to the super elite here, like Djokovic. My question is how do we as a society process what it is we're being told to do?
It's confusion.
What I'm saying is, if I'm being told that I cannot walk in a store without a mask on, where I can purposely back up and keep my distance or put my shirt over my nose or whatever it is that I have to do, how is it that I can comprehend that if yet I can flip on the television or I can send I don't have a son that plays football, but if I did, how can I send my son into the heat of that battle, face to face, sweaty?
Same with basketball. Same with basketball.
Same with baseball.
Same with baseball.
And some people might not think baseball is that type of scenario, but if you've ever been stealing home or trying to get home and the catcher's got the ball in your hand, watch out, because that's a lights out dynamite hit fixing to happen right there at home plate. Much less, I mean, how are you going to do anything in any sport? So that's number one for me.
So Carteri said, it's confusing. I'm so tired of the hype and the news. I'm done. I agree with you, Carteri. I try not to watch the news or the media or read articles because a lot of it's just BS. It's like you had this guy, Dr. Fauci or whatever, pitching, but then you have a picture of the guy without the mask sitting next to 2 other people. So it's confusing. Like you're saying, keep your distance, blah, 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 but you're doing opposite.
Yeah,
I don't get that. I just don't understand that. We can play football, we can play basketball. And there were some people, someone wrote to me, the soccer started. I actually saw the stadium full. So which one is it? Do we keep our distance or we don't?
Okay, so I'll push further than that. is, does anyone, and I know, let's say, Gene, I know you don't have kids, you're a young man, but for any parents out there, let's look at the economic impacts that are up on deck, I guess you could say, for the parents, and namely the working parents, or namely the single mother. And there's a lot of single mothers out there, and bless all of them. But there's a lot of economic impacts for especially single parents and dual working parents. So the kids now are staying home, and they need to stay at home and do their virtual learning or whatever it may be, but the parents have to get out to work and work, and that is if they still have their job left.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is, who is going to supervise the children to make sure that the children aren't playing video games?
We're gonna have a lot of dumbasses. A lot. I'm just saying.
So that's a whole nother deal. It has nothing to do with the topic of sports. But
Blind Fear says COVID-19 weird disease. They say talk can spread viruses, and it says in the air for a while in UK. It keeps changing information on virus. BS. Very true. Yeah, and we also had here in Alabama where before it was 14 days, now it's 10-day quarantine. So it's like they're confused. They have no clue. No clue.
So here in the recent weeks, these numbers have climbed substantially. However, the local vibe of the gist of the people that we know, and I'm talking about even some of the hospital staff and doctors that we know, and I say that because I've broken my arm twice. I've blown my knee out once, so I've had 3 major injuries in the past 8 months. First and foremost. My father's a retired physician, not that makes any difference, but I think the consensus is all the same. It's real, but the numbers are definitely not true.
No. Yesterday we had didn't they correct themselves? 346 cases. Oh, we're sorry. Those numbers are wrong.
Yeah. So
they're less than what they should be.
Yeah. Yesterday, our spokesperson for the Mobile, this is where we live, the Mobile kind of county health department or whatever it is, had to do a live broadcast to apologize for the drastic mistake in their number count that was done the other day. So again, anyway, in your opinion, everyone out there, we know it's real, but does anyone disagree that these numbers are inflated? I mean, we've heard things about different organizations getting more funding for those that may have perished because of this. So you can't tell me that money doesn't talk. I'm not saying the left or right, up or down, what I think is right or wrong, and I'm not saying that's what I think. But I think we'd all have to be naive as people to think that everything we are told these days is true. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. Hi, Jack Nolte. If it's said and decreased by then I understand. Wait and see, but tennis isn't the worst sport. Baseball, soccer continues. Why not tennis?
Agreed.
Very true. We've been teaching throughout this the whole time, and all our students. No one has gotten this thing. By the way, none of our students. But
we stay 78 feet apart.
I mean, you do naturally. You don't have to be in someone's face to teach them. But yeah, you're right. Why couldn't tennis start? I mean, I don't get it. To me, I think the tennis should start. And I know someone said, why, I don't know why some players would consider, Yinghao said, why would some players even consider playing US Open? Life has to continue somehow. Has to continue. What, we're going to shut down the whole world?
Well, okay, so for the young person or whoever, I said young, that Yinghao, I kind of agree with his flavor, I guess you could say. Because unless you're an athlete that knows the feeling, this is just me it kind of taking this in my own direction. But if I'm an athlete, I go to battle, but the reason why I go is for the fans. And this is where I'm going into the next kind of segment here. I wouldn't want to play simply because there's not going to be any fans there.
Right. I get that.
Now we can go back to the times of the ancient Rome, or where they're throwing people in pits to fight lions, and we've talked about this before. Competition, it has been around for eons of time, but I think those competitions are made to be the competitions that they are because there's fans there. You know, the gladiator gets into it, pumps up the crowd. Look at the Medvedevs that uses the crowd in a negative way. Look at the Djokovic's. Look at the people that feed off the crowd in any sport, right? By the way, didn't I just hear that Roy Jones Jr. is about to fight Mike Tyson? So, I only bring that up because, these two boxers, Roy Jones is from Pensacola, Florida, spent some time here in Alabama. But anyway, these two fighters are going to fight again. And I bring this up because obviously this is an exhibition, right? It's an exhibition, obviously. But it seems like tennis has become more exhibitionary as a way to figure out how it's going to work without fans, right? So we've had this Adria Tour, we've had this these other tournaments and this World Team Cup that's now in a bubble, and Danielle Collins got kicked out, and here we got
Danielle Collins got kicked out for a stupid reason.
Yeah.
I read that article. You're right. The guy wasn't specific. She was in West Virginia. I lived in Charlottesville, where she was staying, not too far, a couple hours. I mean, I think that was dumb for them to even kick her out.
I think it's difficult to play any sport at the most elite level, especially if you're a tenured veteran and all of a sudden show up and play your best with no fans.
It is tough.
I do. And I think it'll be tough for anyone to swallow watching a sport with no fans. And maybe not for you, but let me tell you why it would be tough for me.
Weren't they playing basketball yesterday?
Well, there's not fans around.
Right, I couldn't watch it. That's what I'm saying. I thought we were watching basketball on.
It was the NBA kickoff starts this weekend. I know Stefan Nisevic, big basketball guy, will dunk on him though, even in Serbia. That's what's up. But it was kind of like the warm up for the kickoff. So
boring.
Again, the basketball though, if you're watching basketball, you only usually see like the big time ticket holders right around the block, like Spike Lee and Kim Kardashian.
You can hear them. You can hear them.
You know, you're not really studying the rest of the crowd. Neither here nor there though. Let me tell you what though. I saw something about what they're trying to do for fans.
You told me, yeah.
So check this out. I was watching some technology show the other day, and let me tell you what some of the big sports owners and big venues have been working on. It's an app, and we all know what an app is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you download it on your cell phone, and that's an app. I'm an idiot with that stuff, but nonetheless. So an app is being developed or being worked on that will allow fans to log on to those apps if they buy a ticket to whatever sporting event that they were going to go to. So let's say I'm a Chicago, I'll be the fan. Let's say I'm a 49ers fan. And I want to go to the game. Well, guess what? I can't go to the game. So I buy a virtual ticket. I buy a ticket. You know, I go to this app and I buy the ticket. This is, you know, again, what the goal is.
How much is the ticket, number one?
Well, I mean, when I went to 49ers games.
No, how much is a virtual ticket?
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be the same cost, surely, as a ticket to sit in.
I'm out.
Can I tell you why it's, you know, kind of interesting?
Sure.
All right. So if I want to go to a 49ers game, I can't go there, obviously. So I go and I download this app and I buy this virtual ticket. Okay. So the virtual ticket allows me to get some type of cardboard cutout put in a seat within the stand at the ticket price that I bought it at, and it'll kind of, I guess, look like me. I guess I would have to send them a picture. I don't know how that deal would work. And they would put it in that seat. All right, so once you got your virtual seat, now you can watch the game on your app or your phone or whatever. So you're watching the game. Let's say this Joe Montana back in the day just threw a touchdown pass. Jerry Rice caught it. Scoop, touchdown. I can start tapping the clap button on my phone. Clap, 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 clap. And the process of computers or algorithms or whatever will generate a clap within the stadium on speakers for the players to hear. So if there's 10,000 49ers fans on their phone, and freaking whoever their quarterback, Garoppolo this year, throws a touchdown pass or whatever, tap, 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 and the crowd goes wild, but there's nothing there but cardboard cutouts and people hitting their clap button to do you see what I'm saying? So an interesting thing, but is that the way we are headed? Are we headed for these type of, weird things? Is that where we're headed? Would you buy that app?
Hell no. I wouldn't spend money on a virtual ticket. Are you kidding me?
You know, clap, 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 clap. I don't get it.
Yeah, we're becoming a society of staying home, getting bigger, not healthy. Your immune system is not working because you got to get outside, for that immune system. You got to expose yourself to things. Germs, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. We can play the sports, but we can't go to them. So when we turn on the television screen, we see the empty stadiums and the cardboard cutouts and the simulated claps. And I think it reminds us of the situation that we're in. Now, why do most people go out, let's say, to a sports bar or go have a party or friends over? Why do most of them do that? They do it to sit down, to take their mind off of work, to take their mind off of their stress, to take their mind out of the bills that they owe, and they go and for that 3 or 4 hours of time, they are focused on that football game and nothing else, or basketball or soccer or baseball or golf or whatever it may be. So now I'm going to take that time out of my busy, crunch, stressed out, just depressing at times life, I'm speaking for the masses because we are the masses. That's what we do. So the reality is, if I want some escape time to get my mind out of the shit that we've been dealt, now I got to go turn on something and watch what few people are there spectating in mass, or look at cardboard cutouts. It's almost like an old military pilot. My dad was a military pilot. He would always say, the bad thing about being a pilot is once you get out of the jet aircraft, and they take your wings from you because you're old, or you can't see well, or you can't handle the G-forces, or your body's breaking down, or whatever it is, the pilot no longer has a high anymore to fly like that. You can't substitute flying at Mach 2, right? So you get out of the aircraft, and before you know it, you're yearning to get back in the sky, but you can't. So what do? You start drinking, you start drugs, you start breaking down mentally, physically, emotionally, and then you die. So am I going to want to turn on the damn television and watch some cardboard cutouts or people in masks to remind me of the shit that I was dealt, or would I rather be hanging out with my family, exercising, or doing something to actually take my mind away from the drama?
Who knows?
Anyway.
I had a question here. What do we think about, I think it was Carter, he said, what are your thoughts regarding Nolan getting COVID? To me, it was almost like a setup. Like, he had to have it because he was there and someone tested positive and this person tested positive, and in 10 days he's all right. I mean, it made no sense to me.
Well, with all the stories that we hear,
it made no sense to me.
I would love to question the test results.
Me too. I was like, really?
I hear things, and again, and maybe it's fake, maybe it's not. But how can you tell the fake from not anymore?
You can't.
You can't. So if what I heard is fake, then whatever. But if what I heard is true, there's no reliability to
I think it was like he had to take the fall because he set it up. He had to take the fall, and the right thing would be, hey, I tested positive. I'm sorry. But as far as him playing the U.S. Open, I think he should play the U.S. Open. Nadal doesn't want to play the U.S. Open. That's his problem, Yeah. He wants to break that record. We know Federer's not playing. Who's going to beat him? Thiem? Zverev, who's busy partying? Monfils, who's a clown?
Was Kyrgios going to beat him?
Wawrinka's not going to be there. Who's going to beat him? Kyrgios, who's showing off his other girlfriend, and it's going to be another girlfriend? He should play it.
Well, again, there's going to be an asterisk all over whoever wins the U.S. Open.
Someone said there wasn't going to be an asterisk on it. Why would there be an asterisk on
it? That is naive to say that the U.S. Open, if it is played, will not have an asterisk on it. It's naive for multiple reasons, not just because of individual people can't travel to go to and fro there or not, which that's a big problem as is for travel restrictions from one country coming here or going back home in of itself. Don't forget that the French Open is like 2 weeks later, and if you have to go through the quarantine thing, then you can't play it if you play that, if what I'm told again there is true. So how do you pick and choose from that? So yeah, it's going to have an asterisk, because some players would rather play that on clay than play that on the hard court.
Well, going back to, you said, Gene, after a 10-day quarantine, then you're not totally recovered, but he said he tested himself in 10 days and he didn't have it anymore. So how does that make sense? This is my point. It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense.
Carla, on the last show we talked about
we know blind periods. Some people have no symptoms. No effects.
Yeah, we understand
the
that.
healthy people, obviously, that's been the case.
And so if Blind Fury's just tuning in...
no, he's been on.
Okay, so again, the debate here isn't whether... our mindset for doing this today is not saying that we think it's a hoax or overhyped. Yeah. We're just saying what we hear from all different directions, all of us. We can turn the page on one thing and it says, hey, everybody, oh crap,
they change it every
the world's
time.
dying. Then you turn to the next page and this person's saying, it's overhyped. Then you turn the page to the next one and this person's saying it's a hoax, and everyone's got something to back it up.
I just wish that maybe there were zombies, because then if I could see, I would believe it. I'd rather deal through that than deal through this right now. I'm just saying.
and the biggest problem for me with the mask thing, and again,
we're not getting involved in political stuff. We're just saying.
we're not doing politics.
I'm not right or left.
Not right or left.
Neither one.
Right down the middle.
Yeah.
We were both kind of raised in the tennis world, and it's pretty common. It's a pretty common play in the tennis world to never discuss or three things, and we were both raised by tennis players, and our grandfathers even played. And the moral of the story is always the same.
You can have false positives on test. Who knows? Test COVID. I have no clue. No clue.
The moral of the story, though, on the tennis court is never talk about race, never talk about religion, and never talk about politics, and be damn careful when you talk about certain sports. Like here in Alabama, if you're an Alabama fan and you meet an Auburn fan and, maybe they've had too much alcohol or something, watch out, because fights can brew there. So you really need to keep your mouth shut. What did Will Rogers say? Never pass up an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. So that's kind of the mindset of a successful tennis player. Now, some of them you have, outlandish players that love to talk smack and never shut up, like Kyrgios. But we have to deal with them. But we hope it's the minority and not the majority.
What about this Muguruza and Wawrinka thing? Do we think this is true? I mean, I know it's gossip, but they took a picture supposedly. I mean, that's a cute couple.
Yeah.
That's better. I like him better than with Donna Vekic. I think he looks better with Muguruza.
I particularly don't care.
She's a tennis player. She's won a slam too.
That's one of those woogish things.
Well, I mean,
don't really care. I mean, but Wawrinka, you can't blame him for his past. And wasn't he playing Kyrgios at one point? And Kyrgios was like mouthing off at him.
Who cares about Kyrgios? I mean, how does any girl deal with that clown? Just saying.
One of the biggest problems with wearing a mask, though, and I think if we are going to wear them, and again, we wear them when we have to. I'm not knocking it.
Donna broke up with him a long time ago.
You can't see someone smile in a mask, right?
Well, we could tell from our son, like, you can see it in his eyes. He looks happy in the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, we go to like Walmart. We were at Walmart the other day, and we had our masks on. And I'm thinking, I bet you, I like to smile a lot, and I'm thinking, I bet you all these people don't know that I'm actually really happy or really positive. And I'm looking at people, and they all look like really angry, and I'm wondering, they probably think I'm angry with them because they can't see me smiling. So maybe they should make like a clear mask,
especially when you wear your glasses.
Well,
the sunglasses, you can't see your eyes, and you're like, whoa.
All right, so in China, the Chinese, at the end of the year, and I think it's after the U.S. Open, I think the Chinese or the Asian swing begins.
Yeah, Alex Guyar said they canceled their tournaments. He mentioned it earlier.
All right, so we'll give Alex the jump on that. So as Alex indicated, the Chinese, the Asian swing after the U.S. Open has been canceled. So again, with all these different, okay, now China's canceling. Now we're having the U.S. Open. It's too much to process.
Do we really think the U.S. Open will start, though? I mean, we got, what city? Cincinnati was canceled?
Well, no,
Washington.
Washington, D.C. was canceled.
Washington,
and Cincinnati's being played at the
U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open. Yeah. In Corona, I was going to say Corona, but they won't know what Corona is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Corona Park.
Yeah. So what to do as far as the NFL thing for the football? I know a lot of you don't watch football, but that's the biggest thing for me. Or high school sports.
Yeah. How are you going to follow the rules?
You can't.
You can't.
You can't follow the rules there. No. There's nothing that you can do. You can't. If you put a mask on someone, they could potentially die in the 100-degree heat. They can't breathe. Number two, they're going to be dripping sweat and I mean, they're getting down on that football field, especially at high levels. There's nothing you can do to make that happen, and then at the same time expect all of humanity to feel like what you're telling them is 100% true.
I mean, I don't get it. Even universities are not starting their schools. Like, some students are not even allowed to attend the college. They have to do it online, So, I mean, how are you starting football then? I just don't get it.
Well, and here's another thing. Here in the United States, football, hey, we're starting it no matter what. Let's go. And again, I love football, not knocking it. At the same time, though, there are Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA colleges that have completely slashed their tennis programs.
Yeah.
So go football, we're going to make it happen, but there are a multitude of colleges, some major, some minor. I don't think there's any such thing as a minor college, because we're teaching human beings to educate themselves and be better. So I don't believe in minor, but smaller schools.
College football with fans, I don't know. Have they decided college football yet? This is like regular football, right?
College football being not American soccer in football.
No, but he's saying, are the college football going to be with fans? I don't know.
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
I thought they made their money with the fans.
Well, we talked about that virtual ticket thing that supposedly the tech gurus are working on. Look, this entire push of sports right now, in my opinion, is a way so people will turn on the television and they will check out the advertising.
It's money.
Check out the well, and guess what? It's an election year. So what are all your advertisements going to be? We get this first football game or first basketball game upcoming this weekend. I can guarantee you, between every timeout or whatever, you're going to see the presidential candidates. I don't even want to bring up their names. It disgusts me, all of it, because nobody is true. I would love to see some president that came out of nowhere. That's been
Hey, Kanye West. Just kidding. To
come just some real look. We'll vote Alex Couillard for president.
Couillard.
We'll get Carterio Ford to be the vice. and just call it a day, man. You know, throw Gene Swart in there as Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Let's get down. I mean, the whole man, we'd be living right, you know?
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. My nose is brown. It's deep in it, and I'm just trying to wipe the bullshit off. I don't know which way is up. I mean, fuck. Ooh.
We're in the twilight zone.
I mean,
I'll be the first Hispanic president. Let's go, Alex.
Come on.
Oh,
All right.
God.
But the problem is to even get your name on a ballot, it costs you like, $1 billion in advertising and a team. Just sign up.
Come on,
Carterri.
people of America, let's start the donations.
I'll vote for you, Carterri. I swear. Get your name on that ballot. But I think it's going to cost you like $20 million to get your name on the darn ballot, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see here. Blind Fury says China tournaments canceled for good. USA problems with China. Yeah, there's a lot of problems there.
Again,
Very
politics
well said.
there.
Very well said.
Okay, but now look. Now tell me this isn't some shit. So right now in Houston.
Hey, this guy 1000, you had questions for Justin.
Yeah,
You went
I
hard
do have a
on
question
him.
for this guy. I'll tell you what about this guy. But check it out. In Houston the other day, and we don't live terribly far from Houston, probably 6-7 hours, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But in Houston, there's like a Chinese consulate. And I guess they permanently closed it. So, you got this whole thing in the Pacific going down militarily. You have the whole communist thing in China. You have the whole other side of that here in the United States. And we think that, it has nothing to do with anything. It has everything to do with everything. But they just feed us fodder to distract us from all this. So, but yeah, I do think Carterri should
Would cancel election USA?
That's not going to happen.
That's never going to happen. Come on.
They have backup plans for that.
Come on.
Yeah.
They don't even need your votes. They already know who's they don't need their votes.
Well, does anyone actually think whoever wins actually rules the country? And we're talking about the U.S. It's just a puppet anyway.
Now you're getting into politics.
Yeah. I'll rewind from that. But there's money that goes into all of these people that run for these things, and they are kind of obligated by who they were lobbied by or donated from to do what they want to do if they win. So it's not like if I'm president, I can't just. I want to do this and I want to do that. There's someone whispering in my ear.
I'll give you an example here. Okay, like they were voting a president here, right, for the whole club here. Because he wants something done doesn't mean it's going to happen. Like he wants to see this and that, but there are other people that have to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just saying.
And it just always ends up the same as it always was.
Exactly.
You lose sleep over it and you start protesting in the streets and this guy or that guy or this guy or this guy, and then someone gets back and it's just the same shit.
It's like when you're in high school. And I promise we will have pizza every day. Yeah,
Don't hurt me. We'll get ice cream.
Does it ever happen? No.
We're going to have 7 proms and only go to school on Fridays if you vote for me.
If you vote for me, yeah. Blind Fury says UK, schools start back in September and college don't know when they go back. See, I'm happy my son's where he is. They're starting online and in person. They've somehow managed to figure it out. It's all working. So I'm glad he's there. And we might not see him till Christmas, maybe.
When we watch these sports with no fans, does anyone sympathize or can they empathize with all of the people that have lost their jobs because of there not being fans? Has anyone thought about the people that serve concessions or the security guards that work there or the janitors respectfully that have to clean up after all the fools' messes that they just throw on the ground, the groundskeepers, the gatekeepers, the ticket salespeople, the people that answer the phone, the emergency standby paramedics, and so forth? Does anybody think about those people that are just standing there hoping to get their next meal? Does anyone think about that?
There's a lot of people right now suffering.
So we're just gonna tune it on and smile our way through whatever we watch with the cardboard inserts in seats. Is it going to be a happy thing to watch? I mean, I think it will be. I think we do have to return to normal. Don't get me wrong.
I think so
we have
too.
to move forward.
I think so too.
But you can't tell me that as soon as they throw football or basketball or tennis on television or whatever outlet they would have to be that outlet because you can't go. But you can't tell me that you're just going to sit there and it be just like it was.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I've tried to watch. I know we have friends that watch the tennis channel and they try to watch all these matches and stuff. I have a hard time watching them. I'll be honest, because there are no fans. It's hard for me to get excited. As a matter of fact, I switch the channel. I'd rather find something else. It's really boring, in my opinion. It's boring to watch tennis with no fans.
No ball girls.
I might as well watch my
boys?
kids play. Just saying.
And yeah, it's at least what we have seen so far, and that's been sporadic. It hasn't really, it's been a quiet, it's been kind of dull. It's been the very reason why tennis is a dying sport in the U.S. Anyway. If you're not on the court, you know, a lot of people these days don't even know, they can't tell you anything about the game, at least here.
No,
you know?
we've asked many of our juniors, hey, do you know who this is? You should, who?
Who?
What? I'm like, really?
I mean, we have some kids that are really solid juniors, been around the game for a while, and we're like, yeah, Steffi.
Sampras?
Sure, you can ask them.
Monica Seles? I'm like, you know, Martina Navratilova. You've never heard of her? I'm like, really?
Sure, you can ask them.
Halep?
You can ask them who Halep is.
I'm like, what? Really?
All right.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Does anyone realize that 33% of people currently are late on their mortgages or their rent? In other words, the roof over their heads. Does anyone know that 38% of people out there have cars that are in repossession status or extremely late on car payments or just are already basically sitting in the driveway with locks on the wheels? Does anybody understand that?
Terry, you're right. Most Americans are ignorant.
Very true.
This guy says for soccer they simulate crowd noises for TV audience, so it helps. I don't think it's. It might help like 10%.
All right. So who said that?
This guy 1000.
All right, this guy 1000. Two things. Number one, he's totally right. The simulated noise has been. I'm not a big a late night talk show person, but I was actually flipping through the other night and I was looking for the local news and there was like Saturday Night Live on or something, and I knew that there was no audience there, but yet they had the audience clapping. And once again, I was kind of reminded that it's not the way it used to be. Mm-hmm. So again, it's tough for me. I'm not a big TV dude. I think a lot. I can't sit still very long. I usually have...
Americans are highly unsophisticated.
I mean, at this point, it's like,
Yeah. That's Carterian. He's in California, so yeah.
No, I mean that's good. I mean,
Blind Fury says Liverpool football team celebrating their win in an empty stadium. Interesting.
How did that go down? I didn't see that. Well, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you celebrate with them? Were you like, yes? Were you a fan and like, no, boo? I mean, were you able to get into that celebration?
I think right now I'm enjoying watching the junior tournaments. Our son plays next week, so I think that's a lot more enjoyable than watching the stuff on TV. You know.
So where does the return to sport? We're not going to talk about politics specifically, but where does politics play into sports returning? Is there a general political establishment that wants to see it and a general political establishment that doesn't want to see it? Do you think that any of the tournament organizers or the team owners, whether it's football, basketball, whatever, do you think their political stances have anything to do with the vote that they have to put in to I guess to be in favor or not of sports returning?
I think probably the reason is starting that they want us to feel like, hey, life is okay, we'll be all right, you know. Hey, look, we got sports, you know, just to try to, I guess, make everybody feel at ease. I don't know.
It's really a difficult scenario. Sometimes I'm baffled and speechless over the whole darn thing. I definitely want to see sports return. Fact, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
I'm definitely excited with the mindset that the U.S. Open is about to be played. I get that, or you get that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the level of excitement that I will be able to generate over it because of what the overall product is going to be.
I'm going to miss the boos for Djokovic and the boos for Medvedev, you know? Yeah. And the cheering for Nadal. I'm going to miss all that.
You know what'll suck, though? They're still going to have the hideous grunting or the female screeching.
Oh, it's going to be worse.
So now you're going to hear the damn screech worse.
Maybe they can figure out, like, you know how they have the fan noise? You know, like, maybe they can figure out how to wash that out. Like, I don't know, I don't know.
Maybe put them like a sound booth. I think if Azarenka...
Sound effects. Yeah, sound effects. FIFA game sound effects in the stadium. So maybe they can find a sound effect for those girls that grunt or the guys that grunt.
Yeah, maybe they should just give them some duct tape and smack it over their mouth.
They should wear the mask. Yeah, they should wear the mask. The grunters wear the mask.
Grunters must wear a mask when playing.
Yeah. FIFA's video game. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right, honest question, honest answers. How much of all this is just fear-mongering? How much of this is designed to instill and create fear amongst all of you?
I have a viewer that has his company. I won't say his name. But he's a believer that this is all to put fear in us, and he left me several messages, voice messages, and I get him.
Well, he believes it's real, but he believes it's the perfect opportunity to have people overhype this so we can put people against people. You know,
He's
there's
very passionate about it.
you know who was it that just said Americans are very unsophisticated, and he's very true here. A lot of Americans these days. I'm sorry, and it comes from parenting. The kids aren't raised very well. There's no emphasis on education. Therefore, there's no emphasis on college, and they don't learn the humanities and the arts of where we come from. But there's an old saying that order comes out of chaos.
Terry said, I'm done with COVID.
Yeah. Has anyone ever heard that? Order comes out of chaos. You know, we've been talking about this global reset for a long time.
Man, we're what, March, April, May, June, July. I just want life to start.
We've heard about cashless society for a long time, and you know now it's kind of coincidental that you can't find change in stores. Have you heard this?
Yeah, or they ask you ahead.
Like,
hey, are you paying with cash? Oh, you can't.
Oh, you can't pay with cash anymore. You got to use your card.
I'm like,
and if you need, it's insofar as if you do have cash and you don't have the right amount, they just round it up and don't give you any change. This is true. This isn't fake news here. We were in Walmart the other day, and
Greenhouse said it's real, but also opportunity for fear mongering.
Exactly.
Said it well.
Said it perfect. Can you repeat Greenhouse comment again?
It's both real, but also opportunity for fear mongering.
I mean, that sums up everything I have written on this page in one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
We are not saying it's not real. We're voicing our opinions that we know it's real, but at the same time, we want society to return to the way that it is. And because we hear so much stuff this way, that way, up the middle, upstairs, downstairs, left and right, we don't know what's right and what's not. And that's the thing. What sense do we make out of it? Where do sports go? Where do we go? How do we return to normal after this? You know, in psychology, and this is to this guy 1000. Didn't this guy 1000 send me a message? And sorry if I don't. Carla does a lot of the responding.
I didn't respond. He said, question for Justin. Do you remember what you studied in psychology? Or is it blurry to you?
Well, it's kind of blurry after all these years, but no, I mean, not really. And I mean that with all due respect. But what the heck was I fixing to say? I thought
you were going to respond to this guy 1000.
I forgot now. No, what was his last comment? Do you remember?
I can look it up.
Forget about it. But if we can't make sense of it, then what do we do? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know what is right and what is wrong.
Questions for Justin. Do you still remember what you studied during your psychology degree, or is it blurry at this point?
Well, I was going to ask him what did that pertain to. I mean, I get that's kind of a witty comment, but I don't know what it pertains to.
Well, obviously he's for the mask because he says, I'm not a fan of masks, but I absolutely would wear them without questions, only a bit of discomfort and even...
Okay, let me rewind something then. He said
this whole thing would end if the entire world would have stayed where we were for 2 weeks.
All right, so this guy 1000, I had to process that for a second. Okay, what do I remember what I studied in psychology? Okay, let me tell you one of the things that we studied in psychology. That was conditioning, whether it's classical conditioning, whether it's operant conditioning, negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, whether I'm dealing with animals or human beings. We can repeat the certain thing and give that thing, whatever it's human, animal, whatever, a reward, whether it's negative or positive, and we can create a behavior. Okay, weren't we watching something about sharks the other night, Carla?
Yeah.
Where these divers came out and they were feeding people.
Yeah.
And you know, all of a sudden the people stopped feeding them, and now they were going after swimmers' hands. Well, people were like, "Oh, the sharks are going crazy." But then they did some research and found out that there was a bunch of illegal divers that would always go out and video themselves and sticking their hand out and letting big, huge tiger sharks take meat out of their hand. And then when the divers disappeared, now the sharks would see humans just with their arms dangling, and they would bite their arms off.
They should have fed those divers to the...
Okay, so this is an example of negative reinforcement, you know? So we've rewarded sharks to eat something out of the hand. The divers disappear. Now the sharks are tearing people's arms off. That's a negative response for something we've conditioned an animal to do. Okay, now let's look at classical conditioning here for a second. And I'm sorry if I'm boring people with this, but he asked me a question. If I'm going to put masks on humanity, I'm going to make them stay 6 feet apart. I'm going to make them just stay isolated from themselves. As time progresses, we become conditioned to do so. Okay, so fast forward a year down the road, or whenever, you know, we have to get some vaccine or whatever, and I won't get into that too much, but I know I'm not going to have some needle jammed in my arm. And I've heard people such as Bill Gates say that when this comes down to pass, you might have to have multiple vaccines. It's not happening. Unless I'm, you know, fixing to go into the military or respectively, and I have to do it for something like that, whatever. But I'm not fixing to get my arm jammed up with a bunch of damn needles. I'm not. And plus, it makes me sick. I like when I throw up. I don't like pain. So anyway, rewind that though. You cannot tell me that when most of humanity takes off their masks and does everything, that they're not going to be conditioned to still be an asshole. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're still going to be standoffish. Why? Because they're used to it now. They had it forced down their throat, and now that everything's supposedly back to normal, it's not back to normal. It just seems back to normal because you can do whatever it used to do, but you're still not going to go up to a local bar and be like, what's up, bro? What's up? Let's get down right in your face. Like, what's up? Because he's going to be like, yo, dude, get out of my face. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. Blind Fear says some of its power grabbed by politics, and they never give up new powers. Cashless society is a bad idea because they can use it for fine people more easy. Terry says a lot of things that can kill me are not done with me, but I am living my life paranoid.
I mean, it's conditioning. You're conditioned to now at this point. That's what I'm talking about. So what did I learn? This guy 1000, much love. What did I learn? Do I remember when I'm studying in psychology, you know, when I was 19 to 23 or something, and I'm 42 with 5 kids? I haven't really looked at it since then, but I do remember conditioning, and I do remember making animals with simply a piece of bread be able to walk over to a specific corner every time I stood there, because I stood there for a whole semester holding a piece of bread that I would give to them. So finally, when I just stood there, they'd walk to me anyway. Pavlov and his dogs. Same type thing. So you're conditioning humanity to be standoffish.
Oh, so you meant not living life in paranoid. Yes. Well said, Gina. Me too. I don't live my life paranoid. I mean, I still live my life. I wear the mask because I have to.
Yeah, we wear it because we have to.
It's a law. Do I keep 6 feet apart? Yes, I do, because it's the law. But I'm not stopping my life. I exercise. I play tennis. I do whatever I have to do. I go to the stores, whatever. I'm healthy. I eat right, and I'm good.
Exactly.
Same with the kids.
We're not rebelling against anyone or anything. We go outside, we wear our masks. We go somewhere, we stay 6 feet apart. I mean, it's delineated.
I go to the stores, I don't take my kids. I don't take them with me. It's just him and I, you know?
When we go to parking lots, we park at the very end of it and have our car like 20 feet. So we follow it, but what I'm telling you, what I'm sharing.
I don't live in fear, though. That I do not.
We don't. However, most people do. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what happens. The longer that this goes on, when there will never be a return to normalcy.
Never.
It'll always be the same. The kids will grow up thinking this is normal. I've got a 4-year-old.
We're affecting the social life of kids. Yeah. Going back to school is important. For instance, my son's a junior. This year is important for him, and he wants to get into military academy. Well, what's going to happen with the ACT test or SAT test? You know, all this stuff. He's in pre-calculus at his young age. I mean, all this stuff that is hands on hands for teachers, you know, to teach them, explain. You're telling me they're going to do the same online? It's going to be tough.
How are you going to teach AP calculus to a 15-year-old if he's having to do it at home behind a computer while mom and dad are out on the court all day coaching? I can't teach it to him. No, I definitely don't remember calculus.
Not only that, we are taking jobs away by keeping people distance, you know, less cashiers, less, you know, whatever. We're getting rid of those jobs for some of those people that didn't go to college or don't have the education or don't have the means, you know, to get a better job. I mean, we're killing that too, that class. It's a lot of stuff. It's just a lot of, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could really open up a whole can of politics and stuff, but I won't do that. I'm too dumb to get into that. And I really don't have a bunch of hardcore beliefs about any of that stuff anyway. We have a saying, a motto here at 5K Tennis, and we put it on some of our shirts or business cards.
Why are you afraid of the new world, this guy? I mean, he's very well.
The new world?
He writes very well. So I would like
Why am I afraid of the new world?
In-person tuition is extremely important.
Well, I would like to have a more open statement of why are you afraid of the new world? If I read it correctly, I don't like being told that I have to do something unless you're my mom or you're my wife or you're someone that I
no one likes to be told
that I respect from a credible standpoint. But I'm not going to buy into anybody's shit.
I mean, you follow it. You follow it.
I'll follow the rules, and I won't break any laws. But at the same time, I'm a patriot, and I was born into this earth that I love this earth, and new normal for me is not going to cut the shit. I mean, I'm 42, 5 children. I'm not fixing to change my lifestyle overnight because I've got 7 different stories of what's going down pumped into my ear. I will follow the rules. I won't break any laws. But until there's 100% normalcy, I will never even accept the new world. I don't even want to hear it. New world. Forget that crap. On me, We're a tennis family. There is not going to be a new world for me. There may be
He
a new
says,
world for you.
I meant me. I'm afraid of never returning to the way things were.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was about to say, damn, I was going to get heated for a second. All right,
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
I don't believe in that new world stuff.
You did say that we'll never return back to the way we were. I think
Yeah.
people will be more rude, heartless, compassionate. The lower class will remain even lower, and the higher class will remain even higher.
The middle class is squeezed.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's add these numbers up on the fly if you can for me. The average car payment for even just a quality used car in the United States is about $500 a month. I'm not talking new right off the block. I'm talking, a 2015 Toyota with 50,000 miles on it that you bought for 30 grand. Obviously, you don't have any money, so you had to finance it. Your payment's going to be about $550 a month, give or take. Then you have to have anything financed insured. So let's top, about $130 a month on full coverage insurance. So right now you're into a $700 deal just on your car. Now let's flip it over to rent. The normal rent.
I thought we weren't talking about politics. Yeah, we got into it.
All right. What I'm getting at is for someone in the middle class to live these days in the country. You need to bring home around $30,000 after taxes to survive middle class. That's one car family, beat up car, putting food on the table, cheap place to live. Not pretty at all. Whatever. You need about 30 grand. That's a lot of money these days, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So how do people process, or how does the middle class deal with and process all this stuff, losing jobs, a lot of them? We have a lot of friends that own establishments, restaurants, nightclubs especially. We have one friend that
he says try living in California, says Carteri.
Well, yeah, and this is Carteri, thank you for that. Born and raised in California. I moved out of California in 1992, 93, and have only been back to visit. Now, the one time I went back to visit was 2007, and I flew to San Francisco. So I went to San Francisco to see my old house, which is where the Presidio is now. I was born on a military base under the Golden Gate Bridge. Anyway, neither here nor there. So I went there. I got off the airplane at SFO, which is San Francisco International. I walked outside. I got my bags, and I jumped into a cab. Cab driver turns around and looks at me and says, "You're not from here. Your first time?" I'm like, "Man, I was born and raised here." And he was like, "Well, you're not from here recently." And I said, "Why do you ask that?" He's like, "You can tell." So what I'm saying, and he elaborated on the ride that, I wasn't coming out of first class. I didn't have my three-piece suit on. I didn't have my Louis Vuitton bag, and I didn't have my Gucci watch on, so he could tell. And he just, made a comment. He wasn't being a dick about it. He just liked to, find out where people were from when he picked them up from the airport. So yeah, California is a different world. Now,
New York, California.
I went to the doctor the other day to get my hard cast cut off to put the soft one on, and we met a guy that just went to California. Now, this guy was a radiologist here. And we asked him how his trip went. He was like, "Man, I went out there and I thought I was in prison. They took this stuff really serious. Like, we tried to go to a winery, closed. We tried to go here, closed. We tried to go here, and man, we were made to stay 6 feet apart. If we got out of our car and didn't have a mask on, holy cow." He was like, "I've never been so glad to be home." And he was in California for a honeymoon for like 2 weeks, and he couldn't do anything. And he said he never was happier than to be back home because of how serious it was out there. Carteri, is that true or false?
So Richard Sylvester came in late. I hope you watch it from the beginning. He says, "So sorry, I came in late. Is it that you guys don't support the shutdowns?"
No, not at all. By the way, if you are just tuning in to this, once it finishes live, it takes about 24 hours sometimes for it to process, I think, till you can go back to watch it. No, that's not it at all. It's a debate about how can society as a whole, and we have people all over the world that watch this, but how can society as a whole, we're speaking from our perspective, process all the information that they are given. So again, if you're tuning in, I won't kill everybody else from bringing it back up, but if I'm being told by this supposedly credible source that it's a hoax, if I'm being told by this credible source, wear a mask, you're going to die. If I'm told by this credible source, it's not that bad, just stay healthy and you're good. If I'm told by this credible source that, it's so serious, you're going to get sick. In other words, there's so many different stories going on out there. And then if you factor in, our kids are staying out of school now, but they are allowing contact sports like football and basketball and everything else. how can we process it's not okay to be 6 feet from someone, it's not okay to have your mask on, it's not okay to follow all these rules, but yet we are going to be watching football players lined up nose to nose on the offensive line and celebrating and whatever. How can we process that? And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Alex said true, Justin, especially now with the upsurge of cases here. I'm in San Diego and things aren't horrible here, but LA is a mess.
Yeah, now that was Alex.
That was Carteri.
Oh, Carteri, let me ask you a question too. Serious. I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles as a kid. So I saw a video not terribly long ago. My father sent it to me actually, and it showed a very large area of downtown Los Angeles that literally there was homeless just lining the streets for blocks, tents set up, and this is when I saw it, I was almost like, wow, I remember walking down these streets. Is that true that there's like hundreds of thousands of people homeless in downtown Los Angeles? And now I can see the Tower Records building in the distance from the video, so I'm not quite sure where that location was, but what I saw was quite incredible. Furthermore, Carla showed me a video, a news video from a news source of Minneapolis currently. Minneapolis looked like a war zone. Chicago, we saw videos of Chicago. I think there was some, huge war zone type shooting there the other night. Portland, Albuquerque. There's a lot of things that are going down, and we see them, but yet our kids are fixing to go play football at school. That's what we're saying. There's so much out there, but it's so hard to process.
He said, yes, homeless is horrible, and LA for sure. Richard said, me personally, I just follow the numbers, then everything falls into place. This guy said, I wish all the U.S. leaders would have banded together to deal with this. Asia has dealt with this brilliant because everyone banded together with one goal. Yes, it's a cultural thing.
Or
hey, Stefan, you came in super late.
I'm still gonna dunk on you, bro. But okay. So, but now let's look at. We won't get into politics, but let's get into isms and things that governmental bodies do in other countries. The reason why that you are having, I guess you could say, yes, everybody banded together, but I think over in that area of the country, most countries, not all, most countries, let's say China, if you don't do what you're told, your ass is probably going to die or get shot or get thrown in some awful prison. And the United States, it's not that way. Now with this whole thing, it's becoming that way. And that's another fearful thing. So, I
feel like we're all zombies.
I don't think we're dumb enough.
Follow the line.
I mean, and the ism I'm pertaining to is, of course, communism, and I don't want to bring that up on a tennis show, but in a country like that, if you go out and they tell you not to go out, I mean, watch out. But here in the U.S., if they say don't go outside your house, I can still walk outside. I mean, I'm not going to get thrown in jail. I mean, I might have someone take a picture of me and put it on social media, whatever. But it's different, and it's hard, just like it's hard for us to process what we're being told because it's something new every single day. It's hard to process for that for the masses here in this country. Do you see what I'm saying? There are people that will not put on a mask no matter what, not because they don't believe it, because there's what's the old shirt with the snake on it that says "Don't tread on me." That's kind of an iconic flag, and you see it a lot these days. Look, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but don't tread on me.
Yeah, Gene said the police here at least don't shoot people if they break the rules. My mom said in Honduras they weren't letting people go from town to town. They had the military, and they will shoot you. You'll never hear about it in the news, because it's Central America, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a crazy thing. What's the most speechless thing that I've seen in the past, I don't know, 42 years is the sight of the homelessness on the streets of Los Angeles and the downtown areas. Number two, the video you showed me of Minneapolis burning, literally. Number three,
horrible.
The war zone type shootings that are happening in Chicago. Now, if you think...
Good for you, Carteri.
That's what I'm saying.
He said, I'm a communist. Okay, well, good for you.
Again, beliefs to me, as long as you're a good person and you want to live well and get better or be better and stay healthy and help people out, beliefs are irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? That's why we don't get into that.
Stefan said Justin should wear a mask so people don't recognize him when I embarrass him.
Screw him, bro. I can't wait for that. That's one dude, man. I'm gonna dunk on him hard.
Yeah, I actually want to meet this guy.
Yeah,
This guy's like 6'8".
Yeah, Stefan, if you got a visa and travel, I got a place you can stay. I'll come pick you up
I
at the
will
airport.
beat you down in tennis. You
Yeah.
might beat us in basketball. We'll beat you down.
Oh, I'm not getting beaten either one. I'll roll it up left-handed. I got this.
We might have to tag on him, like 1-on-2, you know.
Oh, I just go one-on-one and take them down. Tall guys, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
But I will pick you up at the
Break his
airport,
ankles.
Though. Scoot.
I need to do a history task about Summer Olympics of 1936. Okay, good luck with that,
Who?
Gene.
Gene Sport?
Mm-hmm.
He's a bright young man.
Yes, he is. All right.
All right, that's it.
That's it.
All right, man. Our people, that's it. Again, for those that tuned in late, this show, if you have any questions or comments now while I'm kind of ending this, then feel free and she'll read them. We started the show and we were cut off after 2 minutes, so I had to restart it. So if I think there's 2 ways you can see it before it processes. So I think if you go to our channel and click on playlists, it will be already there in live shows. But if you just go and look for it, once I end it, I don't think you can see it until it finishes processing. The live shows sometimes take 24 to 48 hours to process. So
Wow.
if you go to the channel and just look for it, I don't think it'll be there. But if you go to playlists and click on live shows, I think you can see it. But that's it. Again, this was not about knocking this pandemic thing at all. The whole debate is, how do we, people, the masses, process what is right, what we do, and what we can and what we can't do safely. But
Hasta luego, Alex.
But yet, sports are beginning. So it's just confusing. We want sports to begin, yes, but it's hard to process that with everything we're being told to do. Anyway, that's it, guys. Take care. Much love. See you soon.
And Justin didn't have one bathroom break.
And Stefan, I swear.
Not one bathroom break.
And Stefan, I got you, bro. Got you.